Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hashai, Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hashai, Brakti Hawa, Brakti Hashai, Bahasham Rakah Quarash, Kal Halalim Labano, Yahwa Alhaino, Bahasham Yahwashai, Bahasham Rakah Quarash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone, Shalom to the prophets of thy body. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yashai, Bahasham Rakah Quarash. First of all, right, this is regarding Keir Starmer. If you know who Keir Starmer is, his name is Sir Keir Rodney Starmer. All right. Sir Keir Rodney Starmer, or KCB. KC is a British politician and barrister who has served as British Prime Minister, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom since the 5th of July 2024. And the funny thing is, it's like 4th of July is so-called British Independence Day. That's when we had our elections here in the UK. And I also believe the American elections are USA elections, election date 2024. When is it? It's supposed to be the 5th of November. Oh, yeah. It is Tuesday, the 5th of November. Now, here in the UK was somebody called Guy Fawkes. 5th of November. There used to be a saying back in the day when I was a child in the 80s. Remember, the 5th of November. And Guy Fawkes, right? Let's go here. Guy Fawkes Night, also known as Guy Fawkes Day, Bonfire Night and Fireworks Night, is an annual commemoration observed on the 5th of November, primarily in Great Britain, involving bonfires and fireworks displays. Its history begins with the events of 5th of November 1605, when Guy Fawkes, a member of the gunpowder plot, was arrested while guarding explosives. Let me go to the history of Guy Fawkes. Let's go to Guy Fawkes' history. Go to okay, involving bonfires, fireworks displays. Its history begins with the events of 5th of November 1605, when Guy Fawkes, a member of the gunpowder plot, was arrested while guarding explosives. The plotters had placed beneath the House of Lords, which is the with regards to the Parliament. All right, let's just go here just to give a specific definition. What is the House of Lords? All right, House of Lords. Oh gosh, I didn't even spray it right. Say it right. I mean, spray it right. I didn't even say it right. All right. Anyway, the answer is come here. The House of Lords is the upper chamber of the UK Parliament, often referred to as a revising chamber. It has over 800 members that are appointed rather than elected. Okay. So they were arrested while guarding explosives. He was a member of the gunpowder plot, was arrested while guarding explosives. The plotters had placed beneath the House of Lords. The Catholic plotters had intended to assassinate Protestant King James I and his parliament, celebrating that the king had survived. People lit bonfires around London. Months later, the observance of 5th of November Act mandated an annual public day of thanksgiving for the plot's failure. So basically, he tried to blow up the House of Lords, which is all related to, all surrounded around politics, okay, and the kings and princes of this society, right? All I'm saying is, you had the UK elections, which was on the 4th of July this year. Then you got the American elections, which is the 5th of November. It's like they've swapped dates. Those are specific primary dates. All right. I'm assuming they're related to the satanic calendar as well. And we are coming to the point of the collapse of this society. Second is 15, where people will be attacking each other, bum rushing each other, raiding each other's houses, right? 15, 16, second Ezra's, and we are also not ignorant of Satan's devices. We can see what Satan is trying to do as well. All right, and Satan's male so-called human counterpart would be the so-called white man, the Edomites on this planet Earth. Look at that. Festivities in Windsor Castle by Paul Sandby, 1776. Was in 1776 the founding was officially when America was uh, coined by the founding fathers, right? It is a specific date. That's a key date in history. All right, let's click on that. Festivities in Windsor Castle during Guy Fawkes Night, one of a group of four prints of Windsor Castle. Let's see what and also 1776 is when the so-called Illuminati was created, wasn't it? U.S. declares its independence from Britain by approving the Declaration of Independence. All right. Okay. Cool. Right. So something fishy is going on. Along with all that, we have the financial collapse, um, December 2024 stroke January 2025. Certain countries around the world will have to make certain decisions regarding the currency that they're going to use, and it's all aimed on the digital side. So a lot of changes are going to take place in the next 6 months, Lord willing, and for the collapse of this current world system. You know, Second Ezra 6 verse 9. Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. And along with all this, these planned so-called riots and attacks and race riots, which would be Jacob's trouble. Let me go to Jacob's trouble scripture. Um, Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. And who's the he? The elect. They have the thawa, they have the exemption. They have that stamp, spiritual stamp of exemption, where they won't be touched. Now, what's happening right now is, and look what this prisoner is doing, by the way. You see the hand? Why the goat horns? He is signaling to the elites that, yeah, your plan is working. All right. People think that, oh yeah, it just means like a badass symbol. It means like, rock on dude or whatever kind of BS thing that they're trying to, the dumbasses would allude to. He's basically signaling to the elites, yeah, your plan is working. And who do they use to signal this? What looks like to be a person of color. It could be a Jake. I don't know. He looks like a Jake, right? They've got a fat Edomite walking on the next of him. Looks like they were holding hands. Kind of looks like the ABCD community, but I don't think they're holding hands. But look what he's doing. Prisoners punched the air with delight as they were released early to ease the overcrowding crisis behind bars. So therefore, they are letting go of criminals. And England is a very small state. Now, with all these extra criminals out in the street, all right, because of so-called overcrowding, right? What do you think is going to happen? You got the immigration crisis. You got the migrants. You got the sleeper cells that are, some of them are secretly soldiers. You got some of them are just criminals, right? Trying to get a leg up in Europe, UK, and Europe. Some of them are genuine people that want to so-called provide for their families, and then also with the influx of prisoners, what do you think they're going to do? And a lot of these prisons are going to be paid off to cause commotions and destruction in this society. All right? You think they're going to do this for free? They're happy that they're released out of prison early. They're probably given some startup cash by the powers that be. They're going to say, yeah, okay, this is what you're going to do X, Y, and Z date. Okay? Start it. Okay, prisoners punched the air with delight as they were released early to ease the overcrowding crisis behind bars. Former Home Secretary Suella Braverman branded the mass release a day of shame. Mass release, by the way, mass. There's thousands of them coming out. Branded the mass release a day of shame amid warnings some will immediately commit more crimes. And what's the date on this article? apparently 6 hours ago. All right, what's the date today? The 10th of September. Okay. Victims Commissioner Baroness Newlove revealed many victims were not aware of the early releases, prompting fresh heartache and fear. Up to 1,750 prisoners are being released today, 40% of the way through their sentences, rather than halfway, to tackle jail overcrowding. Okay, which means a lot of people can commit crimes, right, and come out halfway through, or at least a quarter, at least less than halfway through of their sentences. Okay, and they're going to let out a lot more. And how do they decide? Is it order of priority? Who commits a worse crime, or is it just mediocre crimes? They don't care. You think they're going to go through every single person's rap sheet and say, okay, yeah, let him go, let him go. He's been there the longest. Or he committed murder. No, leave him there. No, he committed petty theft. No, he sold weed. Because weed is still is illegal here in the UK, right? Let him go. They're just going to do it willy nilly. All right, they don't give a shit. They want this thing to pop off. All right. This was never heard of, as far as I know of. Being born and raised here in the UK, letting prisoners out early. Up to 1,750 prisoners are being released today, just in one day, by the way. 40% of the way through their sentences, rather than halfway, to tackle jail overcrowding. The number of spare places in male prisons fell to just 300 on Monday. One convicted drug dealer said Sir Kramer's policy had made him a lifelong Labour voter. All right. Jabir Benaloa, 20, was greeted by 5 friends this morning. Jabir Benaloa. I don't know what ethnicity. Could be, sounds, I don't want to guess, probably Middle Eastern or Eastern European. All right. Benaloa. Jabir Benaloa. Could be Albania. I don't know. Whatever. Jabir Benaloa, 20, was greeted by 5 friends this morning. He said, I thank Labour because I've come out of 5 or 6 months early. I've come out 5 or 6 months early than I was supposed to. I'm just happy. Oh, so this one's Jabir. All right, the Edomite. So he must be Eastern European then, probably Russian or Ukrainian or something. Edomite here, another Edomite here, or happy, scummy-looking Edomites. Chief Inspector of Prisons Charlie Taylor warned the move was risky, but Mrs. Braverman blasted risky is the understatement of the year. This will undoubtedly lead to reoffending and more pressure on the police. The police have cut down on their patrols. A lot of police stations here where I reside in London, especially my area, all right, out west, a lot of the stations have closed, all right, and there's a lot more crime being committed. As you can see, the sirens in the background. If you heard that, crime will be committed. Crime will be committed. Public safety will be undermined, and victims will be let down. All right. So the numbers are around about a third of the people. I'm trying to I'm trying to go through it, scan through it to see if there's any other key. The chief inspector said the main risk was that freed prisoners would end up homeless and, as a result, fall back into crime, despite a pledge by the Ministry of Justice to ensure all 1,750 will be granted accommodation for 12 weeks. So this is going to piss off the taxpayers that they've got to pay accommodation for these damn migrants as well as criminals too. Homeborn criminals. As well as the general, as well as the people that are actually trying to make it in this world, supposedly. Mr. Jones added, what you're seeing this week is nearly 2,000 people being released. That's nearly twice the number that ordinarily is released in any given week. That's placing significant pressure on the probation service and people that provide the accommodation underpinning that. Okay. All right. But the key thing is this picture here. Look at that. You know why the goat horns? He's signaling that the plan is working. That's my spiritual insight into it. That their plan is working. He's signaling that it started. The plan is going according to what the powers that be want. You know, there's already less police on the street. Okay, they're letting out criminals, and they've only let out almost 1,800 criminals. They're going to let out more and more and more. And we're approaching the year end. Another month is October. We're approaching 2025. The election in the States, the pressures of the financial infrastructure about to collapse. People are begging, people are hungry, pressure on the police, lawlessness, lewd acts. All this is a like a recipe, as they say, for disaster. And this is what the so-called elites want. You got to learn to read in between the lines as well. Meaning of goat hands. What do you call them? The pox? Pock. That's not what I wanted. Let's go delete this. What do you call it? Is it the pox? No, that's not it. Let's call it the rock and roll goat hand and symbol. Yeah. Oh, sign of the horns. Religious and superstitious meaning. All right. Look at that. You got Hindu. They got the Hindu goddesses doing that as well. Let's call it sign of horns. The sign of horns is used during religious rituals in Wicca to invoke or represent the horned god. In Levian Satanism, the sign of the horns is used as a traditional salutation either for informal or ritual purposes. Okay, so the sign of the horns is used during religious rituals in Wicca to invoke or represent the horned god. What does invoke mean? Invoke definition. To call on deity or spirit in prayer as a witness for inspiration, cite or appeal someone or something as an authority for action or in support. Give rise to evoke. Call on. Call on a spirit. Call on a spirit. The sign of the horns is used during religious rituals in Wicca to invoke, to call on a negative spirit or represent the horned god. In Levian Satanism, Anton LaVey, I believe, in Levian Satanism, the sign of the horns is used as a traditional salutation, either for informal or ritual purposes. There you go. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they release more prisoners. Okay? Now, what you're witnessing here is the fall of Esau's world, slowly but surely, in real time. Anyway, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakurash, Shalom.